When our next guest spoke with us in June about BP's prospects, he said the company would survive, but its profits would be squeezed by the billions of dollars spent on the Gulf cleanup costs. Andy Lipow joins me now here in Houston, Texas. He is the president of Lipow Oil Associates, an energy consulting firm based here. He's worked in the oil business for 30 years, just kind of like Tony and Bob, including 16 at Amoco, which is where Bob Dudley worked as well. That was later, of course, acquired by BP, and now it looks like Andy, an Amoco guy, may take over your former employer. Let me ask you, though, first, Adam, I think, put it best. We were talking about this last night. Does this give BP a clean slate? I mean, they have a new CEO. They've capped, it looks like, for now at least, the leak, and they're dealing with the payments in the way that the president wants them to. Does this let them start over here?
Well, indeed. I mean, Dudley gets to start again. He'll have a grace period of several months where he can try to sort out the environmental claims, the economic damages, get the drilling rigs, the relief wells done and capped, and then he can move ahead with BP's business.
What does it say to you that a former Amoco guy takes over BP, and then there's this incredibly interesting sort of role reversal where, you know, he came from TNK-BP, and it looks like Tony Hayward may head over there to give them a little help after he steps down as chief executive. Well,
if you look at BP, it makes perfect sense. They have a huge amount of operations here in the U.S. We account for 25% of their crude oil and natural gas production. If you look at the refining side, over 50% of BP's refineries are located here in the U.S. So they want to have a real strong presence here. They've got the assets. Dudley would fit that bill.
Andy, Carol Massar back here in New York. Maybe I'm missing something, but why would BP hang on to Tony Hayward in some capacity?
Well, they probably feel that Tony has a really good relationship with the Russian government, and TNK-BP produces over 1.5 million barrels a day of oil there, of which 50% is still owned by BP. So that's a significant equity position that they might want to keep Hayward around because he's got that good relationship.
I got to say, if they didn't like Bob Dudley running TNK-BP, they might not like him at all running the entire company of BP. Does he have really other qualities, the qualities you need, other than being an American and not being Tony Hayward?
Well, I think one of the good qualities is, despite all the problems that BP had with TNK-BP, he managed to get them through that crisis, and BP still owns 50% of TNK-BP. He seems to have a persona which is cool and calm and collected, which is what a lot of people perhaps want to hear. He has no gaffes on a public relations basis, comes from the Gulf Coast. He'll be able to give BP some breathing room with the government and Congress over here for the time being.
All right. Hey, Andy, thanks so much for joining us. Andy Lipow from Lipow Oil Associates.